The city of Mdina is not normally associated with sporting activities. However, the silent city has always had a keen sporting interest, with football teams playing the beautiful game as far back as the late 1920s. Rabat football historian Louis Azzopardi writes that interest in football in the Mdina and Rabat areas was fueled by the service teams stationed at nearby Intarfa. This interest continued to flourish when in 1929, the then Minister of Education, Sir Augustus Bartolo, instigated the building of the Mdina sports ground in the Mdina ditch. The ground was inaugurated on the 26th July 1929 and led to the birth of a number of football teams. One of these teams was Notabile United in Mdina, with King's Arms, Rabat Rovers and Emanuele Vitale Spartans being formed in Rabat. By the mid-30s, however, most of these teams had disbanded. Even Rabat Rovers, the first team from the area to be affiliated to a national association, the Malta Football Association, disbanded in season 1933-34. Little is known of the early Notabile United team. However, an item of memorabilia has survived in the form of an original football jersey that was worn by one of the players of that era, Paolino Farrugia, who dated the jersey to 1938. It is not known if this team traced an unbroken line from the team of the early 1930s or for how long it survived. Paolino has indicated that the team's meeting place was the Circolo Alfonso Re d'Aragona, the fine building outside Mdina known as Casino Notabile. The set of jerseys was bought from Muscats in Valletta for the princely sum of £1, 1 shilling and 8 pence, which is equivalent to €2.52 in today's currency. He has also indicated that most of the players were from within the city itself, supplemented by a small number of Rabat youths. The first mention of an Mdina football team in Carmel Baldacchino's publication, Goals, Cups and Tears, is in Volume 4, where we find a reference to Mdina Boys. This schoolboys team was formed in 1945, playing its first match on the 12th February by beating Tarshin Boys 2-0 in the Primary Schools League. Mdina Boys did not only play schools football. In a very interesting article in issue 3 of B&W, the Rabat Ajax Club magazine, Louis Azzopardi writes that Rabat pioneered an ingenious way of scouting for young talent by organizing a summer league for under-16s. The first league was held in the summer of 1947, with 6 teams competing for the Gulshare Cup. Mdina Boys and Rabat Swifts both finished top on 8 points, but the Swifts won the decider by 5-0. In 1948, Mdina Boys were again runners-up and reached the final of the knockout competition, the Rabat District Cup. They won the cup in 1949 and were again league runners-up in 1963. Another team, Mdina Old City, tasted success in 1951, winning both the Rabat District League and the Rabat District Cup. Carmel Baldacchino mentions another team from Mdina, Mdina Old Boys FT. The only details listed are its year of formation, 1949, and that the team drew their first match by 4-4 with Rabat Sholton Athletic on the 13th of March. An interesting exhibit is a cup from 1953, inscribed Good Conduct Cup Coca-Cola Soccer Competition 1953. This cup has been handed down from previous Mdina teams, but its source is unclear. According to Louis Azzopardi, the 1953 edition of the Rabat District League was sponsored by Coca-Cola. Carmel Baldacchino mentions 2 teams that won a Good Conduct Award that year, Rabat Grasshoppers and Rabat Flying Saucers. A photo shows the captains of these 2 teams about to receive cups that look very similar to the one exhibited. How did one of them come into Mdina's possession? Or was there another award won by an Mdina team? The first venture by an Mdina team into a national football competition dates to the early 60s when Mdina SC obtained affiliation to the Malta Amateur Football Association, MAFA. They made their debut in the 3rd Division on the 14th October 1962, defeating Atleta Juvenis by 2-1. The first Mdina goal was aptly scored by a local boy, Emanuel Vsadny. The team suffered only one defeat against champions-elect Mercury Sports Club and finished in 4th place, winning their first honour, the Good Conduct Shield, in the process. Season 1963-1964 was to be even more memorable. Ginger-haired forward Lolly Azzopardi scored the first Mdina hat-trick in a 3-1 win against Valletta St. Paul's, and Louis Azzopardi scored both goals in the first derby game against Rabat Magyars, which Mdina won by 2-0. Mdina finished the season in 3rd place, earning promotion to Division 2. Mdina's first adventure in the 2nd Division was not a happy one, as they ended the season in penultimate position. Luckily, they managed to avoid relegation when the association decided to restructure the divisions. Mdina made the most of this reprieve by winning the 2nd Division title in 1965-66. Undefeated all season, the Blues finished level with Zebuch Meteors and had to face a decider for the 2nd Division Championship. Mdina ran out winners by 3-2. Maurice Azzopardi, who won the top scorer trophy with 9 goals, added a brace in the deciding game, with the other goal coming from Charles Cassar. Sadly, Mdina SC spent only 1 term in the top division and disbanded at the end of the season after gaining just 3 points from 7 matches. The club was finding difficulty in fielding a team and in fact could not honour its penultimate fixture against Hamroum. Mdina bowed out of the league with a miserable 1-5 loss to Msida Wolves, the Wolves' only win for the season. Following its disbandment at the end of the season 1966-67, the team lay semi-dormant for a number of years. The youngsters from Mdina still played friendly matches in Ilfos, or more frequently, 5-a-side games on the pitch next to the tennis court below the main gate. In 1973, a team was entered for the Under-16 League, organised by the Rabat section of the Malta Playing Fields Association (MPFA). The Mdina team qualified in 2nd place from the group stage, but could not progress further. In 1975, a group of Mdina youths decided to reform the team to participate in the 9-a-side league being organised by the Rabat Labour League of Youth. A committee was formed, and it was agreed that the committee would look more long-term and apply to rejoin the MAFA. The team participated under the name of Mdina Football Team in the 1975 summer competitions, reaching the quarter-finals of both league and knockout competitions. After a change of name to Mdina Sports Club, the club took part in the MAFA knockout competition for 1975-76, defeating Ormi Rockers in the first round, before bowing out to Msida Hammers after a replay. The debut goals were both scored by Mdina-born players Felix Gallia and François Lia, and the team was captained by George Vella, a stalwart from the 1960s team who served on the committee and played for the teams of both eras. The following season, Mdina Sports Club made its debut in the 3rd Division, finishing in a creditable mid-table position. Season 1977-78 saw the club finish in 4th place, enough to secure promotion to the 2nd Division. The Mdina Festa Committee presented the club with a handsome commemorative trophy. Back-to-back promotions meant that in season 1978-79, Mdina Sports Club emulated their forerunner by reaching the 1st Division, earning another commemorative trophy from the Festa Committee. The club also won the MAFA Good Conduct Shield in 1978-79 and again in 1979-80. In the early 80s, most football grounds were government property, and the Ministry for Public Works and Sports launched a national league under the name of the Football Federation. As an incentive for teams to join, it agreed that clubs affiliated with the federation would have first preference for pitches. Finding match venues was always problematic, so the committee decided to compete in both federation and MAFA leagues. Teams were split into 4 groups for the inaugural federation season, with placings deciding the division makeups for the following season. Mdina were drawn in Section B, which was dominated by Valletta Vanguards, the eventual overall champions. The Vanguards dropped just 1 point in their 10 games against Mdina Sports Club. Unfortunately, Mdina went down to a 0-1 defeat in their final league game with St. Julian's, who finished in 2nd place, ahead of Mdina in 3rd. While the team was doing well in the new competition, the MAFA experience was a disaster, with the club finishing in bottom spot. Only 1 point was gained from 8 games, and a miserable 2 goals scored against 18 conceded. The end was drawing nigh, and season 1981-82 was the loss for the club. Mafa changed the league format, with teams split into 4 sections. Mdina finished lost but won in Section B, losing 5 games, and only beating bottom team Valletta Prestons. It was even worse in the Federation's 2nd Division League, where the club only managed a draw in 5 matches before retiring from the league. So the second venture by Mdina teams sadly came to an end. This era saw the club gain success in the Rabat summer competitions, winning 3rd place in 1979 and 2nd place in 1980. The club also participated in a number of secondary leagues with the senior team and in youth competitions, with the under-14 team winning the knockout competition and finishing as runners-up in the league in 1976-77. The club had also branched into other areas such as chess, joint winners of the 7-Up Challenge Cup in 1975-76, table tennis, participating in the MTTA 3rd Division League in 1979-80, and darts. The memory was kept alive through the traditional Youth vs Veterans annual match, contested keenly for the Ajus Ferrante Cup, donated to Mdina Sports Club by their main benefactress, Mrs. Anne Ajus Ferrante. This annual event alas came to a halt in 2001, when the ground served as a repository for the material used in the Mdina paving project. 24 years had to pass from the demise of Mdina Sports Club for the phoenix to rise from the ashes in the guise of Mdina Knights Football Club. In 2006, a group of students forming part of the Malta University Sports Club decided to seek affiliation with the Malta Football Association, MFA. According to the MFA statute, they had to represent a locality served by a local council, so they asked the Mdina local council for permission to enter the team in Mdina's name. The council agreed, and the first AGM of Mdina Knights FC was held on the 10th of June 2006. The Knights left a very good impression from the outset. They drew their first ever game, a Division 2 and 3 Cup group match against the Booch Rangers, by the score of 1-1, with Mauro Vassallo getting the first ever MFA Mdina goal. The Knights won their first league match 2-0 against Attard SC and ended their first season 2006-2007 in a very creditable mid-table position. The league format was changed in 2007-2008, with participating teams drawn in 2 sections, and the top 2 teams winning automatic promotion and the 2nd and 3rd place teams contesting the 3rd promotion spot. After missing out on a playoff place by just 1 point in 2007-2008, the Knights went one better in 2008-2009 and 2009-2010, finishing as sections runners-up. Unfortunately, they lost the semi-final playoff matches in both seasons, going out to the eventual playoff winners. Mdina Knights again came within striking distance in 2010-2011, in with a chance until their final match, in which they needed to beat Attard to pip them for 4th place. Unfortunately, the Knights suffered heartache again by losing by 1-3. The 3rd Division reverted to a single-section league from season 2011-12, and the Knights made no secret of their desire to achieve that elusive promotion. After a very strong start, winning 5 out of the first 7 games, it seemed that the Knights were destined to go all the way. However, 2 controversial decisions in the final minutes of the match against title contenders Bura United saw the Knights' 2-0 lead evaporate into a 2-2 draw. The promotion push was derailed, and only 4 points were gained from the next 4 games. Although Mdina recovered to string another 5 wins in 6 games, the damage had been done. The team fell away in the final few matches to finish a disappointing 6th. However, the Knights amply made up for this disappointment in 2012-2013 by storming to promotion in an emphatic manner. They recorded 22 victories out of 28 matches, beating all the teams in the division at least once, inflicting the only defeat on champion Sengley Athletic, and setting a club record run of 10 consecutive wins. Promotion was assured on the 13th of April with a 1-0 win over Tashbish with 3 games to go. 2 wins in these final 3 games secured the runner-up spot. The dream had finally come true. And what better way to celebrate the 75th anniversary of the football jersey from that Notabile United team of 1938?